Good morning. This is pre-algebra for Thursday, April the 9th. Today we're going to talk about percents over 100, okay? And we're going to have the diagrams that are like two bubbles. And you say, I don't get these diagrams, Mrs. Turner. They're not hard, guys, okay? Let's think about an application of percents over 100. Have you ever gotten a bonus question right? Sure. Okay, so when you get a bonus question right, you don't get 100% on your homework. You get a what? A 105% or 110%. That means you got all of the points because you got 100, plus you got this extra question right. So now you get 100 and let's say 10 points, okay? So you have 110%. So did you get all of the 100 points? Yes. Did you get extra points? Yes, okay? That is kind of the application of what we're doing. Now, we're not going to be talking about a math problem necessarily or a percent as far as a percent on a grade, but it is a percent of a whole number. What else would we use over 100%? Well, let's say that your bus captain, he wants to make sure he has enough promotion, okay? So he looks at last week's attendance and says, that's what we have, or that's 100% of our attendance, okay? And this week, we're gonna increase our attendance on the bus by 25%. So he wants to have all of last week's riders plus 25% more. So his new attendance is 125% of what he had last week. Now, why would he need to know that? Well, he doesn't exactly know who's coming yet, because let's say it's Thursday, so he doesn't know who was going to ride the bus on Sunday. I wish we could all ride the buses on Sunday. I miss going to, I go to church with the internet, and I watch Pastor, and I listen, and by the way, I love watching Brother Cooper do signs. I never sit in the deaf section, but I've really enjoyed watching him and trying to pick up a few things here and there. It's been fun, all right? But I miss going to church and sitting in my pew, and I miss everybody coming by and saying hi, Daisy and all those girls that come with you every Sunday night and see me. I miss that. But anyway, we have, your bus captain wouldn't know how many he was having on Sunday. He knows what his goal is, right? Because his goal is 125% of what he had last week. Now, if that were true and he had to order promotion, let's say he had to go online and he had to order, I don't know, whatever promotion he was giving away. Say he was giving away squirt guns, okay? He can't just on Sunday morning get squirt guns. He has to plan. So he has to say, okay, if I had 40 this week and I want a 25% increase, I want all 40 of those plus 25% of those to come, 25% extra to come. Next week, I'm gonna have 50 on my bus. So he has to order for 50 squirt guns. So he has enough. Okay, now, how does he know that it's 50 that he needs? Well, let's look at how to do percents over 100. The first thing I did is I put a problem on the board. And it says in our book, let's see. If you're looking at your book, I'm on lesson 81. And this first problem that we have is going to be example 81.2. It says, what number is 140% of 80? Okay, this particular bus captain, let's say, had 80 on his bus. Next week, he wants to increase that by 40%. It's the spring program. He wants to have 40% extra on there. So he's going to have 140%. All of the riders from the previous week, plus 40% new riders, okay? So what is his new goal? Well, let's look at the board. Remember, we've been saying to find the percent, we say percent over 100 because the percent is nothing more than a fraction over 100, right? So we take the percent over 100 times the of equals the is. Now, sometimes that percent can be more than 100%. 100% of bus riders is exactly what rode the bus last week. But that's not the bus captain's goal this week. His goal is 40% more. He wants all of the previous week plus 40% new riders. He wants 140% to ride the bus. All right, so we're going to take this and we're going to say, what percent? Okay, we know that he had 80, okay? Now, what's a percent of that? So we're going to say 140 over 100, multiply that of our what? What did he have? Well, he had 80 on his bus last week, okay? He's going to have 140% of that attendance this coming Sunday. So we're going to say 80 is our of. That's our base number. So we're going to say 80 over 1. And what does that equal? Well, we're going to say, okay, I'm going to get rid of these two zeros because I've divided both of them by 10, right? Oh, here's a numerator that I can divide by 10 as well. So now all I have on the bottom is 1 times 1 equals 1, and 8 times 14. Well, 8 times 4 is 32, so put our 2 down and carry our 3. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 3 is 11. So if he had 80 on his bus last week, this week he wants 140%. That means he wants all of the riders from last week, plus he wants 40% of that number to be visitors. Okay, how many people would be on that bus captain's route? Well, we're going to make 112. He would go from 80 riders to 112 riders on his bus. Okay, let's look at this next one. On this next one is a little different. In here, we say that we have 100 for 50% is 300. Okay, so this particular captain, he had 150% of his previous attendance. So let's say that 2 weeks ago he had a certain number. And then last week, 150%. Everybody that came the previous week came, plus 50% of that number was how many visitors he had. So all together, he had 300 people on his bus. He would have been a very happy bus captain, wouldn't he? Okay? He had 300 kids and adults that rode his bus. My question is, what was his original attendance? What did he start with 2 weeks before that? Okay? Or before the program started. Okay? So, again, we're going to think about what we know and what we need to know. Okay? Remember, a percent over 100. Percent over 100. And in this case, we don't know what this beginning number is, but we do know what the is and the of, okay? We know parts of these things, okay? So we're going to say equals is over the of. Now let's figure out which of these we know. Well, we know the percent is 150. So we're going to put 150 over 100. Do I know what the is? Yeah, it is 300. 300 is, okay? So we know that's the 300. What I don't know is what was that bus captain's original attendance? What's the original number? That I don't know. So this is some number, okay? I don't know what that number is. So what do I need to do? I need to cross multiply. I'm going to say 150 times n and get 150 n. Then I'm going to take 300 times 100, and I'm going to put 300, and I'm going to add 2 zeros because I am multiplying by 100. Now what am I going to do? I'm going to divide that by 150 because 150 is with my n. So now I have n equals 150 goes into 300 2 times. 150 goes into 0 times. 150 goes into 0 times. So what had that bus captain had the previous week of the spring program? He had 200. Okay? So he had 200 on week 2 of the spring program. On week 3, he had 150% more. So he had all of the original 200, plus he had 50% of new riders that were visitors. So how many were on his bus? 300. Okay? When I know the of and the is, then I'm going to set my problem up like this. I have a percent, and I know the is, but I don't know the of, because that's the first one, I'm going to set my problem up like this. So if I know the percent, I know the is, and I need to know my original number, I'm going to set it up as two ratios, okay? And I'm going to solve it like an equation. Over here, I set it up because I was multiplying for the of, because I was looking for what we call the percentage number, okay? I knew my original amount. I knew my percent. I did not know the percentage, in which case I'm going to set it up this direction. So it depends on what you're looking for. It depends on what you know, okay? If you're looking for a percentage, you're looking for this number, okay? Then you're going to use this formula or pattern. Percent over 100 times the of equals the is. Over here, I'm looking for my original amount. What did I start with? We'll take my percent over 100 and the is over the of. Make an equation and solve that. Let's look at, in your book, please, look in your book at page 230. 230. We're on problem set 81. Problem set 81. Let's look at number 4. It says Jana had to travel 480 kilometers before nightfall. Her speed would be 20 kilometers per hour. How long would the trip take? We know how fast she's traveling. She's traveling how fast? 20 kilometers per hour. Write that ratio. If she's going 20 kilometers per hour, and we know how many kilometers that she is going, what are we going to write? Well, I know that she's going to travel 480 kilometers, correct? And I'm going to multiply that by her rate. Well, I need to get rid of that kilometer, so I'm going to make sure my kilometers are on the bottom. So I have 1 hour per 20 kilometers, multiplying that by 480 kilometers. My kilometers are going to cancel out so that my answer will be in hours. Now, I say I'm going to divide 20 in this. 20 divided by 20 is 1. 20 goes into 48 2 times. That's 40. So 20 goes into 80 4 times. So at 20 kilometers per hour, it is going to take her 24 hours to do this trip. That's a long time to drive those few miles, but she's driving pretty slow. All right? Let's look at our next problem. Let's look at our next one together. Make sure you're doing these on paper. Make sure you're writing them down. It's going to help you, especially when I refer back to them. Okay? All right, let's look at our next problem. It says, graph x is greater than or equal to -2. X is greater than or equal to -2. Okay? On your number line, look at this number, whatever it is. Let's put -2. Let's do 2 numbers on each side. So this is -3, -4, -1, and 0. Okay? Because it is an equal to, this in quantity, is a equal to, what am I going to do to my dot? Color it in. So go to the -2, color in the dot. Okay? Then draw the arrow to the direction that it belongs. Well, x is greater than -2. Let me give you a hint. Whatever direction this is pointing is also the direction you're going to go on your number line. Okay? So it's like this. Let's look at the next one. It is x is less than 5. X is less than 5. Again, put your 5. Put 2 numbers to each side. Now, x is greater than 5. Do I circle it or do I color in the 5? Just circle it because it's not equal to 5. And x is less than, so draw your arrow the same way as is pointing, okay? This is going to the left in our problem. It's going to go to the left on our number line, okay? Let's look at our next problem. It says complete this diagram. if you will text in at this point, if you'll leave a comment for me, excuse me, if you leave a comment on today's lesson, I will put your name into a drawing for a prize, okay? But you need to make a comment in the comment section today after this video, okay? Here we have 90, okay? 90 is our of. That's the whole original amount, okay? Again, if we're going to use bus captains, this particular bus captain has 90 on his bus, okay? Now, what do I know? It says, what if he has 405? Well, that might have to be a division for that number, huh? All right, but that's all right. We have 405 as the amount that he has, but what we're needing is, it says a percent. In other words, what percent is 405 of 90? What percent is 405 of 90? Okay, well, what do we know? We know that we take a percent over 100 times the of equals the is, because I have my original amount, right? So I'm going to put my percent. I don't know my percent. I don't know my percent. So what am I going to write? How am I going to write that? Okay, I'm going to simply put in there that I have what? Hopefully you said x over 100, okay? We have x over 100, because I don't know the percent. Times the of, which is the 90, equals the is of 405. Okay, now let's simplify this. What can I put? Well, I can put, I need to get rid of some things here, okay? And if I'm going to get rid of some things, the first thing I'm going to get rid of is that 100, okay? So I can do that by simply putting 1, okay? Multiply this by 100, okay? And we're going to multiply this by 100. This is going to cancel, leaving us 90x over, put your 405, put your 2 zeros. Now what are we going to do? Let's divide by 10. Let's get rid of this. All right. Now what are we going to do? Let's divide by 9. Okay, divide these by 9. Bring down our x. These are going to cancel. 9 goes into 40. 4 times, that gives us 36. Giving us 4. 9 goes into 45 5 times. Okay? And then 9 goes into 0 0 times. So our answer here so far is that we have 450. The question is that my answer? It is not. Okay? It's close, but what are we looking for? When we went back to our original problem, what were we looking for? A percent. Now, I figured the percent out down here, but I have to write it up here as 450%. Do not move your decimal, okay? Because this is the percent. All I'm saying is don't forget to put your percent sign on it, okay? Pretty simple, really. It's just a matter of thinking through. Let's look at number, how about let's look at number 9. Number 9. 250% of what number is 80? 250% of what number is 80? All right, well, let's write our problem down. Times the of equals the is. Can we do this? Well, let's find out. All right, what's our percent? Okay, looking at your problem, it says 250%. So put 250 over 100. Okay, whoops. Okay, times the of. Do we know the of? Look at your problem. 250% of what number? We don't know. So we have just to put an n equals 80, or it is 80. Now what are we going to do? Okay, you have 250 over 100, and what are you going to do? Use a reciprocal. Let's get rid of this. 100 over 250 times 250 over 100, because that was already there. I'm going to leave that X out because I don't need it any longer. Shows that it's just a multiplication, but I have to take the reciprocal to this side. 100 over 250. All of this cancels, leaving me n. What am I going to do over here? Well, I'm going to get rid of these zeros, okay? So now I have 80 times 10, which is 800, over 1 times 25 is 25. Now I need to reduce. How many times does 25 go into 800? Well, 25 goes into 80. How many times? Goes into it 3 times, and that's 75. Giving us 5. 25 goes into 50 2 times. So our answer is 32. If you look back at number 9, 250% of 32 is 80. Okay, I hope this makes sense. I hope it's not too difficult. Try to really think through your patterns. Tonight, I want you to do the online homework assignment. I'm going to leave it on for you so that you can see if you're getting them right as you go through. That way I can go through and look at which ones you're missing and I can help you. All right, don't forget. Okay, do your quiz and your homework.